All right, what is up, everybody? Divine Hood here. So today, Bitcoin got some pretty good pumpage, and we actually pumped to a key resistance that I talked about in yesterday's video. I talked about two key resistances that I would be interested in shorts from. And sure enough, we pumped today to those resistances. We are starting to see the rejection, although it's not rejecting very aggressively. You can see on the 2-hour chart, we see 3 wicks in a row here, pretty much above this anchored VWAP from the all-time high. If you take an anchored VWAP from the all-time high, and then it's also at the same exact level as the value area high. If we do a fixed range volume profile of this range that we were looking at, you can see it's also the value area high of this range. So we wick past it, hit to the pitchfork. Let me zoom in on this. You can see how nicely it hit to the pitchfork. If I go into the 5-minute chart, let me get rid of this big arrow, and look at how nice we hit into this. Let me go on to the 12-minute chart. You can see a little bit better. We just barely wicked in up, actually hit the pitchfork band twice here, and we're seeing the rejection. Now, I'll go into this on lower time frames, but us not being able to, we kind of held above it for a few hours today, this value area high and the anchored VWAP, and now we're dropping on a low time frame. I did update about this in the back in the Discord, but we lost it and came up for a bearish backtest and rejected. And now we're trading back within the value area of this bigger range here, which is a sign we might see a rotation down. I'm going to go more into that in just a second. First, I want to go to the other Bybit Bitcoin chart, and I'm going to show you guys this same channel that the pretty much it's a parallel channel, but it's a slightly ascending channel based off the two lows here that I've showed you guys many times. We've been following this. And we also, you see the value area is pretty much the exact same on Bybit. We rejected from the value area high. Now, yesterday, when we did reclaim this and bounce from the bottom, I think that was New Year's Eve night, I did say it was probable to continue upwards or at least continue this range. And we are just continuing in this range. Sure, we did get some good pumpage today, but we only pumped to the value area high, and we're still in this range. And it's even possible to come up to take these highs here before making a bigger rotation down. Maybe take these highs, SFP these highs into the top of the channel again, and then make a move down. But first, we have to tackle this resistance that we're at now. You can see one thing here. We are all day long, we were bouncing from the VWAP here. And earlier today, I attempted a short, and I did hit a TP1 when we went to VWAP, just based off the strength of it. So I had 2 boxes on the chart yesterday. Actually, let me go to this video here. You can see I had 2 boxes on the chart here. And SFP into this golden pocket and a value area high. That's kind of a big area. But we also have this internal liquidity from this smaller range. So this is like the highs of this smaller range here. Let me clean this up here. So you can see that's a little bit nicer. That's at 97,340. And the SFP into the top of the pitchfork band in the 786 would be nice there. So that's what we did today. We did get that SFP into the purple box, into the top of the pitchfork band. Now, when we came to this first purple box of resistance, I did take a short from like the 0.65 and we dropped. So let me zoom in on this. I'm going to zoom in onto the 12-minute chart here. Actually, let me zoom out, or let me see if I still have the purple box here. Yeah, okay. So we hit into the purple box and we dropped to the value area, or to the VWAP, but we front ran the VWAP here. So I waited for a second push up. When we hit right into the value area high and the anchored VWAP the first time right here, I shorted it and I did take some TP, only 20% at the VWAP there. And then I got stopped out on the rest of the position at break even. So just pretty much a very small trade there, very small win. And then we came up to the second purple box here, which was this pitchfork band here. We did front run the 786 just barely, which is a little bit concerning because usually you want to hit that 786. But it's also just because we had the value area highs of the range and that anchored VWAP from the all-time high there. So we are finding resistance at our second purple box of resistance up here. And we're starting to see rejection. Now, what looks like is happening here on the 12-minute chart, this kind of looks kind of bear flaggish here. If you look at, it's like the pole and then kind of a flag type structure that's happening here. And if we come back up to the value area high again and the anchor VWAP up here and we reject, we could confirm a sort of push down, like a bear flag type push down that we might see. And if we get reacceptance back into this value area here, this range value area, then we could see a move down. Now, if we see a move down, what would be really nice is yesterday, or this was on the first, we bounced from the value area low. We reclaimed the POC and the pitchfork. I showed you guys that in yesterday's video. And I did say, because we reclaimed this lower band of the pitchfork, that is bullish, and we can expect Bitcoin to maybe move up a little bit and keep ranging in this bigger range. And that's kind of what happened. So we hit that. We reclaimed that yesterday. You can see it was right at about right after close yesterday there. And then we're pumping up here to the other value area high and the top of the pitchfork band. So if I zoom out here onto the 4-hour chart, we're going to look at this pitchfork band more in detail now. And let me get rid of this stuff so you can see better. You can see the anchored VWAP from our all-time high has rejected this a couple times. Sure, we wick past it, but it's been a rejection point. And we hit right into the top of the pitchfork band here. You can see that. So if we do see a rotation down, we can do a fib pull. And there's two fib pulls I would be looking at. I'd be looking at from the real lows all the way up to this high here. And then you can see that we have the 786 right below this liquidity from the bottom of this channel here. You can see right here, the bottom of this channel, we have a 786 right down there. So there is liquidity resting right down there. But before we get to that, we do have a smaller, if we do a fib pull just from that low to the high that we made today, kind of just like to the last 2 days of price action. And you can see the golden pocket retest is right at the bottom of the pitchfork band. So if we reject from the top of the band, we might see a rotation back down to the bottom of the band, and that's about 94.5. Well, that is also our point of control of this range. You can see the point of control of the range is right there as well. So we do have some support that is coming in here. Our first big level of support would be about 94,500, where we see the POC, the golden pocket, and the pitchfork band all in support here. If we kind of make another, like you see how we're doing higher high, higher low, higher high, we can come down for a higher low and then continue up higher, maybe take these highs up here, this SFP of 99K. If we go to the liquidation heat map, you can see that our two major levels of liquidity left are around that 99K area. And then we also have now another liquidation down below the lows that I just described to you, 92.5-ish. So down below this low here at, see, this is 92.7, this little wick here. So we have some liquidation below there. It looks like all the people that longed in this area are putting their stops below this low right here. And that's technically sound. So you would expect to see liquidity below this low. So we have two major levels of liquidity to be looking at right now. This level here, an internal SFP here of the move up. That would also bring us into the 786 of this bigger fib pull. Oop, wrong one. This bigger fib pull here. If we go to here, you can see the 786 is right below that. And then we also have, and let me get this to just 786 here. All right. And then we have our liquidity that is resting right up here. And that is the tops of these ranges. So we could see an SFP at the top of this smaller range, like the highs of the range, not the value area high, just the highs in general of this range, and then see a rotation down. One thing, though, I do want to say, Bitcoin is starting to look kind of strong. We are topping out on 4-hour momentum waves. We do have some 2-hour bull bear divs. I do believe it was 2-hour. No, not 2-hour. It was 1-hour bear divs. We have 1-hour bear divs here. So you can see momentum's making two humps here. Lower lows in the momentum waves, lower highs, excuse me, and then higher highs in the price action. So bear div at a key resistance. That's why I shorted up here near the top of the band. I think mine was like 97.4-ish. And then we also have bear divs on, I think, the 30-minute, 15-minute. We had some smaller time frame bear divs as well. And then we have these two levels to be watching. We have our 95.5K level, which is the internal golden pocket, as well as the POC of the range and the bottom of the band. If we do break this band, say we were able to kind of come back up here, break above the band, and then back test it and reclaim the band, we're for sure coming for these highs here at about 100K, but we might even continue higher. This entire correction might be done and we might start going up higher. I still believe that the range is going to continue. I actually think the range is going to continue till next Monday. And I do think it's still possible to come for these lows again here because these lows were kind of no major support was there. So I would expect this to come down lower to actually a key level to finish this larger correction before continuing to make new all-time highs. All right, so that's it for Bitcoin. We're still going to be watching for this rejection. We have our support level. We have another level here to be looking at. And then, of course, the lows are always important. That's the same 90K, which is the SFP of Coinbase and Bybit, into the value area low of the much bigger range. And if I take that much bigger range, let me show you guys that. So if we take the value area of the entire ascending channel that I was showing you guys the last couple weeks here. Okay, the POC on Coinbase is a bit different. I believe on Bybit it's a bit lower. Let's see. Let's zoom out to the 4. Okay, no, we're rejecting from that POC as well. All right. So, yeah, we do have the value area high, though, up around these prior highs. So that is a level to be watching for sure. The swing failure pattern of this high into the top of the channel again. And then if we close like an hourly or 4-hour candle back within the value area and below this liquidity level here, then I would expect a rotation down as well. Now we are pumping above this midline here. And as long as on lower time frames, so if I zoom in onto like the 15-minute chart here, as long as we continue to hold above this midline here, you can see the midline's kind of been acting as support locally, we might see another rotation up. So the midline is also acting as a very local support. One more thing we do have as well, if I go back onto this chart here, I'm going to keep us on the 15-minute, but I'm going to get rid of some stuff here, clean up the chart. We do have a channel that was formed earlier today based off of, so how I pulled this channel is I went from the lows here, bring it to the next higher low when we reclaim the pitchfork. So that was a very important low there when we reclaimed that lower band of the pitchfork and then back tested it. So based off those two lows, and then I bring it up to this high here, and you can see we've been trading really nicely the last 2 days right in this ascending channel. The midline has been really highly respected. Earlier today in the Discord, I posted about not only was when we lost this anchored VWAP here and we came back up on low time frame to bearishly backtest it, it was also the channel midline, and then we got the rejection and the re-entry into the value area. So right now we're back in the value area, but just barely. And unless we lose this channel here, the bottom of this channel, which is around yesterday's VWAP close, or the VWAP close that happened 25 minutes ago, you can see we might continue this trend upwards and actually hit the 786 as well. So the 786 was front run. If I zoom out here and we do a fib pull from that high to the low, you can see the 786 was just barely front run. And I don't like how we didn't hit that. Now I understand we rejected because it was the top of the pitchfork band. And we also were pretty much at the value area high and the anchored VWAP from the all-time high. But I would have liked to come just a little bit higher to that 98K, 98,043 on Coinbase and actually hit the 786 and then close the wick like we did here. So that's still a possibility. As long as this lower time frame channel is still intact, we might make one more rotation up, maybe drop to the bottom of the channel and then rotate up to the 786 and hit the 786. So this is a possibility to happen right now. We could kind of just do like something like this and then come up to hit the 786 and then lose the channel and continue our bigger rotation to the downside. We still do have the bear divs forming on multiple time frames, 1 hour and below. That's kind of what I'd be watching for Bitcoin now. We're still continuing in this range. Nothing has really changed except we're at the top of the range instead of the bottom of the range. Yesterday, we were at the bottom of the range. Today, we're at the top of the range. Let's just continue to trade the range. Let's continue to look for the key points inside the range to long and short from, and just be patient and let the trades come to you. All right, so let's go to the total chart now. On the total chart, we had some very interesting stuff happen as well. we did see the breakout of this descending channel here. You can see we bounced from the midline the same time Bitcoin made its low. And then we got the move up and we broke this. You see this red midline here that had been acting as resistance the last few times we came to it. We broke it to the upside. And then if we come back down and bullishly backtest it and hold it, we might expect a continuation up to these multiple quadruple highs that are here, which are very important highs to reclaim if we want to see the total market cap in crypto continue to go upwards. And there's probably a lot of liquidity resting above these highs, so we have to watch for an SFP of these highs. But you can see the VWAP is still holding very nicely. Every time we come down to the VWAP, you can see we bounce from the VWAP even just 3 hours ago, and then the VWAP closed and now snapped up to the new daily here, up to the new level of daily open. So maybe we'll continue the VWAP trend that we've been continuing for the past couple days. I do remember, this is going to be total 3 chart, but let me say this real quick. I do remember, I believe it was 2022 was a very, very bearish year for all of crypto. We were in a downtrend the entire year. And then the day we hit January 1st was pretty much the bottom. And then we started pumping up. And from January 1st on, we never looked back. We pumped the whole year, or at least didn't come back down to those lows. So maybe that's kind of what's happening now. The new year started. We know these big guys are still not trading, but maybe they're starting to rebalance their portfolios and getting ready for that, or we just have some money coming into the markets for the new year. All right, total 3 chart. We're still below this pitchfork band here that we lost. You can see we rejected many times from it. We're coming up to the top of it again. So if we come up to the top of it and reject, I did repull this fib pull. So earlier it was a little bit lower, and based off the new just barely higher high we made today, you can see from this high here, it's barely higher. So I readjusted the golden pocket pull, and you can see the golden pocket's still pretty much right at these lows of this, these internal lows of this range here. So we can expect, if we do reject from here again, we might come back down and rotate and actually come to take that. We do have semi-equal lows again because of these lows, and then these lows here as well. Let's do a fixed range volume profile pull of this range. Yeah, so you can see the value area low is around these lows here. And if we do drop a little bit past the value area low and SFP into the golden pocket and then close back within the range, that would be really good to see. And we just can continue the range on total 3-2. So this is the altcoin chart. Altcoins excluding Ethereum and Bitcoin, of course. So that's kind of my update for today. Let's just continue to trade the range. Let's continue to look at Bitcoin. This is a very important resistance that we're at now. So if this channel does hold and we can break above the 786, I would really be watching the 786, because if we come a little bit higher, if we bounce at the bottom of the channel and come up to the 786 and reject, then we might see us finally lose that channel. On very low time frames, you can watch this little like internal channel that we have. If you go from this low to this low here, you bring it up to this high, you can see that kind of as a bear flag. Let me change this color to blue so you guys can see the difference. And then you kind of have your possible flag here. So we might be creating like a low time frame bear flag. Let's look at volume on that. I mean, it's somewhat valid, but I wouldn't go solely off of that. Let's just say that. All right, so that's it for Bitcoin today. That's the update. Let's see, we're at key resistance. If we can break this key resistance and flip this upper pitchfork band, the upper resistance of this pitchfork band into support, I continue to expect us to at least come to about 100K, the SFP of the 99.7K there. And then if we drop, we have our golden pocket and our point of control of the range, as well as the pitchfork band of support around 94,500, which is this area here. So that's what we're going to be looking at for Bitcoin. Hope this helps. Everybody, I got to 1,000 subs. I really appreciate you all. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for your kind comments. And I'll just keep them coming.